Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to review Avatar: The Last Airbender Fire Nation Rising. This is the new Rising game from the most recent. Some of the other notables, right, are Thanos Rising, Death Eaters Rising, and apparently only available in Europe, the Dark Side Rising. I really want that Star Wars one. Yeah.
Really?
Man, I never know it existed.
Yeah. I've been
Why are they in Europe? That's weird.
I think the licensing. It's easier to get the license or cheaper.
Okay.
But anyways, this is the very, very, very popular. I mean, was it? I want to say Nickelodeon.
Yeah, it was Nickelodeon.
But I didn't want to say that and be like completely wrong that it was only like Nickelodeon. It was a thing before Nickelodeon. But I guess it says Nickelodeon on the box.
Sure does.
So I'm going to say that this is based off a very, very popular anime cartoon Nickelodeon show. Right?
Not the movie.
Yep.
Not the movie.
The movie does not exist.
Not the movie. But like the other Rising games, you're going to pick a location you're going to go to. There are going to be either enemies or heroes that you can recruit. And then you're going to reveal a card or roll a die, depending on this game. You're going to reveal a card, and he might turn. He might stay in the same location and advance a track. There's a ruin track and a balance track. And then he's going to hit everybody, activate the villains that are there. You're going to do some damage, and you're basically trying to stop him before you either lose 10 heroes, one player gets eliminated by losing all of their heroes, right, or their main hero, and or you can defeat him, right? So there's a ruin track and a balance track, and there's different things, like this says a ruin 2 on this card, so that is going to advance the ruin track twice. There are variable setups, but it's like that's a much harder one, right?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so it's like 1, 2, or 3, depending on the difficulty. And so you could advance this balance track, right, by assigning die or resources, things like that, or recruiting a guy, right? And then if you can get up to the balance track, all the way up to the top first, it's going to trigger the end of the battle, and it's going to remove all of the villains with the little crescent moon icon on them. And the other thing is, if a villain with a crescent moon icon is drawn, they go away.
They're gone. Yeah.
So that's great. The ruin track advances much faster and much easier.
Yeah.
And that basically does the same thing for all the heroes with the crescent moon icons on them. And the tough part is you're done after you lose 10 heroes. So every time you draw then a hero with one of those crescent moons,
icons,
he's gone, right?
Yeah.
So we played a game, did not win, 2, 4, 5. We lost 5
Halfway
heroes.
there.
And at least...
Only 2 villains.
Yeah, we only beat 2 villains. We played on a medium difficulty. But yeah, so it's important not to neglect the balance track,
Right.
Because that ruin track also kind of puts a timer on the game, right? In a way, I think compared to the others that I've played, it almost speeds it up a little bit.
For sure. And it adds once one of those gets to the top of the track, it's going to add the
Oh, right, yeah. So you've got like the final battle. So then at the 3 different locations, you are going to need to win the final battle at each one, and you can't go after the objective unless you clear the area onto the villains.
Yep.
And so we'd gotten one of the objectives done, which was good. But
so it was a total failure.
Not a total failure, just mostly failed.
Mostly failing.
But this is another very difficult co-op. Yeah. You can mitigate how difficult it is they recommend 10 villains in the deck, but we played with 11.
Okay.
And then we used a medium level balance track. So you could put all 13 villains in the deck to make it even harder, you know what I mean, and play with the harder level.
Sure.
But the other thing that this does that is interesting and unique to this version of Rising is that it's important the order in which you have your heroes laid out, because their abilities might trigger based on what kind of element is adjacent to them, right? So Avatar he has I can choose an extra die for my die pool based on the color of the person next to me, right? So I could have taken an extra air or a water at this point. But I mean, that's basically how you play the game. It's pretty straightforward. The rule book is really easy, very direct.
Yeah.
On the back of it,
the legend's got a nice breakdown of like all of the dice, like what faces are on what color die, what all the icons mean, what all the ruin cards mean.
Yeah, and it's pretty straightforward. This actually might be more straightforward than even like Thanos Rising, less fiddly.
It's pretty similar.
I mean, it's pretty similar,
very
but
similar.
in the Thanos Rising, you're handling all like the Infinity Stones. Like so, you're throwing gems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you have that whole
The
other
extra board that you're
doing,
with.
and this you basically just have this board until you don't, because the other thing is once one of those tracks hits the top, those boards go away and you're not messing with them anymore.
Dunzo.
So, anyways, let's get into components. So components are pretty straightforward. You've got Pi-Show tokens. You've got great artwork.
Yeah, it's like right out of the show.
Yeah, it's right out of the show.
I have not seen the show. I'm aware of the show, right?
Sure.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, like you'd have to be pretty, you know,
In a cave to not,
in a cave.
While it's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I thought that's why, like, another reason why it's a good balance, because I know that, like, have somebody that's a fan of the show, like, look at it, and then somebody that's just coming pretty cold. You know, like, I'm aware of the concepts and everything, but I haven't watched any of it.
I also want to point out that the map itself is the style of the map that they use in the show in the beginning.
Okay, cool.
So it's beautiful.
Sure. Sure. And then, but yeah, so the artwork to me, yeah, I would have just said it looks like it's all right out of the cartoon, right? Like, the card quality is fine. It's not extra special, but it's definitely not bad.
Yeah.
The iconography is easy. There's only 4 of the elements.
Right, right.
The nice thing about these cards too is I don't even think you need to sleeve them because you don't handle them a lot. You shuffle them at the beginning and you kind of lay them out, but then they sit down on the table for the most part.
You're not holding them in your hand, so you're not. Yeah. And again, though, even if you were, they're pretty good. You know.
How was the color?
Well, thanks for asking. The red and green kind of hard to tell apart.
Sure.
So the best way to do it is kind of look at the die, because each one of these is going to have a 2 on there, right? So it's like if it's a yellow die, it's going to have like 3 arrow symbols, but one of those will have a 2 on it. If it's the green die, there are going to be 3 earth symbols, one of them will have the 2 on it. So whichever one that has the 2 on there is basically that's the form of the die that it is, and that's the icon you got to look for. But just trying to gauge them off color from across the room, I'm like, can I just have 3 of my dice, please?
Yeah. Well, at least in a co-op game, not too bad.
Not too bad, because you're not really trying to plot strategy, this and that, you know, and you can just make your compadres help you out.
And the symbols are all very different. You can tell them apart.
Yes,
easily.
the symbols are they're shaped differently. You know, they look like fire. They look like a water icon.
And I really do like the textured die. It's unfortunate
etched
about the color, but the etched die, they feel nice. It gives them a nice feel to the component. I think my complaint about the components, and this isn't like a deal breaker or anything, but these are so thin and light that they slide around a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, they are rounded corners, thankfully, because these corners would get bent up like really fast.
They could have done something like interesting,
cardboard.
or just like kind of like notches on one side, tabs on the other, and then you can flip them and lock them in place, so at least then they don't slide apart a lot.
And then the ruin and the balance markers are pretty weak.
Yeah, it's pretty weak sauce.
I mean, they look
like
like they look like
thing,
extra chits that were left over.
Yeah, a little bit of like ink color like bleeded over on the edge. And
Yeah,
that's
It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, but I mean, for what they do, they're functional.
And they're only used for part of the game. So like, I guess
But if we're gonna go through, all the components, it's weak. The insert's pretty good. The insert holds everything.
Pretty good. I haven't actually seen everything actually go in the insert and make sure it holds it all.
The box
correctly.
closes cleanly.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it's a vacuum form.
And the other ones, never had any issue with those.
Yeah.
So I look.
Firelord Ozai looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's dipped a little bit.
Well, what's funny though is that originally, like, because I'd seen the pictures and it was like, oh, he's just gray, because in Death Eater, like Voldemort is painted, Thanos is painted, Vader is painted in the dark, and I was like, oh, he's just gonna be gray, but no, he's got the nice shading, like the wash on it, and I think it looks good.
Yeah. That pointy chin, don't you know what way he's facing?
Yeah, that's right. But so I thought that was actually a nice touch on there. I was pleasantly surprised with that. Again, though, right? You pretty much got your standard red cubes there. Yep. The Pi-Show tokens are nice. They're very clear, like exactly, very obvious exactly what they do and how they work.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, the rule book was fine. The iconography on the cards is all really good because even here, right, color doesn't matter.
Correct.
For
it's
you,
icon.
No. It's the icon, right? And all of the characters have their icons on there, because like the for example, where's a green card? Are the red and the greens on the cards any different, or Better or
Oh,
worse?
oh yeah. Yeah, this is definitely more of an orangey. Plus, he's got fire all the
Oh,
way around
sure.
him, and that's got earth.
Right. No, I was just wondering if at a glance the,
Sure,
the
sure.
card.
You could definitely tell they're different hues. Yeah.
And then what about the Fire Nation versus like the villain versus the.
Oh yeah, I mean this is dark, like almost like
Yeah.
a maroon
Yeah.
or a brown
Yep,
or something.
I
okay.
kind of wish
Just
they
making
made.
sure.
Yeah,
I kind
yeah.
of wish they made the border of the ones black, because then it's not like just a dark red versus a light red. But
They are-
whatever.
It's not that hard.
they're dark.
It's way dark. It almost could be a black. It's such
Yeah.
a dark, like maroonish,
yeah,
if that's the color.
but that's so nitpicky.
Yeah.
No, I just like to ask those questions, right? And then
Yeah.
you've got your faction or your team token.
Team logo.
You know, so everybody's gonna have to play a different team.
Mhm. Yep, and there are other characters to pick from. And what was you were saying? If there's 4 players, there's a companion side.
Yeah, so you play and you have an ally that helps
Okay,
you.
that's cool. Oh, probably because it's harder to get people to come and help you.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
you're getting attacked more.
Yes, you are getting attacked a lot more.
So, but anyways, yeah. So for the most part, that's components. They're pretty solid. But I've had good experiences with the other games,
The Rising games.
Yeah.
Quick question: you opened this. Did it come with a weird ass sleeve on there?
No
Okay,
weird
good.
sleeve.
I
on
don't
there.
like the sleeves, and like they had one on the Death Theater Rising one.
Yeah, only on the
They
desk.
just-
And then
they just
I know
rip
that
and
the
tear on the
Disney
shelf.
Sorcerer's Arena, another
Yeah.
game from the op, has
Yeah.
a sleeve on it.
Save the money, upgrade some components.
Yeah,
you know.
sure. like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, let's go into final thoughts. Spencer, you're the fan. Let's
Yes.
hear from you first.
Okay, so first I want to say that you have a lot of nods to the show. The pie chow chips, I mean, come on, that's awesome. That's for the game and the show. The fact that their ally, Zuko, I get to play Zuko, which is awesome, and his ally is Uncle Iroh. And what they do makes sense. For example, Ty Lee, she's the one who goes around, the acrobatic person who does pressure points and makes people, fall apart. Well, her ability prevents you from using things. It makes sense. And Mai, she throws daggers at everyone, and well, she's what killed you. Pretty much all that damage came from her. So the characters, they make sense. I mean, Zuko's ability is to redirect lightning, which is something he learns in the show.
Spoiler.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen the show, you should definitely go watch the show.
Like
So,
the 90s.
I didn't even know that the Fire Nation was going to rise. It's
Wow.
always good. I don't know. Just sounded good.
Nope.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. I definitely a nod. If you are a fan, you will appreciate it.
Okay, good.
Bossing says in here.
And then just as far as then gameplay and stuff, you like it? All that
yeah,
kind of
as
stuff?
far as the gameplay, it's difficult. I don't think it's impossible, but I think you're going to need to try it a few times.
Yeah. Work together.
Figure out. Yeah, for example, next time we see Maya, we're like, no, we got to kill her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta die
you
right
got to
away.
go down right away.
Yep.
Take her out.
I mean, we didn't see the one that I'm really scared of, so I'm going to look for her later in the pack. Yeah. Oh,
Well, Fire Nation ship, Long Fang.
no.
Git,
We're going through all
Sang,
the cards now.
Fire Nation soldier, Uncle. Oh wait, he's a good guy.
Iroh is a good guy.
Azula.
Azula.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
Plus 1 damage from all other, minus 1 damage from all other villains. She heals them all.
Wow.
Hama, Jody. Judy.
Oh, cool. She's in there. Yeah.
She looks nice. Why is she a villain?
That's not how you
She's
spell
been
Judy.
brainwashed.
Oh, okay. Dice may not be assigned to other villains at this location, so you have to attack her first.
Oh, yeah.
Snap her out of it.
nice. Okay, so
alright.
yeah,
Alright.
I liked it.
Right on, Bobby. What'd you think?
Yeah. Well, I've played a bunch of the other Rising games. I still think that maybe Thanos is my favorite one, just because I know that more, and like the Gauntlet thing, I think is pretty cool with the Infinity Stones on it. However, I do really enjoy some of the things that this game does. Right, like the abilities that you have. Like in the other one, it's so hard to get your character's abilities to proc, right? Oh, you have to roll a ridiculous amount of a symbol icon in order to get that to do something. This is cool. They just have a one ability that you can assign a die to and do a little something something. And I appreciate that because that helps you feel like you're doing more, and that your ability actually means something. It's like, wow, it's a really cool ability that I'll never get to use. You know, I like how the adjacency of your people matter. You know, like you aren't just recruiting people to your big team. It's like it matters on what size you put them on and how you build your team together. I really appreciate that. Colors, like I said, not great. This die or that die. I don't even know what color that die is. Like I literally have to
Or you
ask.
couldn't tell from that?
No, that's why I asked. I was like, I can tell that one's yellow, but I don't know if that's supposed to be.
I guess that'll give it away though too, right? Because it's the arrow symbol and the green symbol. So then you know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we live and learn.
No, but I mean it's still a fair complaint. Because
Yeah.
if you don't deduce that, right? Then,
Sure. Yeah. Then you wouldn't be able to tell which one it was supposed to be. Like her ability was super cool because I was able to flip over those. What'd you call them?
Pie show tokens.
Yeah, those things. And I could choose and take one. And it didn't say to flip the other two back down. So like we could leave them face up and we were, able to choose from them as the ones we wanted. And those are super helpful for going up like the balance track and for finishing off a villain that you weren't able to, or recruiting somebody that you weren't able to roll the die for. I like the flipping of the cards as opposed to rolling the extra die again. Like we would do like the Thanos and stuff like that. I think that makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, this is a little weak as far as the component of the that included with this, but it's a cool idea. Like I like that. Other than that, though, it's basically the same kind of Rising type of game. The same bones, and that's a fun system. This is great for what's it say on the box? 10.
Let's see.
10
and up.
Yeah.
Yep. 1 to 5 players, 10 and up.
I played the Harry Potter one, 8 and up.
Yeah.
So, and it was fine because the nice thing about co-op games, we're all working together. They can try to get their favorite characters. If you're a fan of this IP, you're probably going to really love this version of the game. If you don't know it, then look at the art. If you enjoy the art, and you want to roll some dice and try to take out some Fire Nation, it's a good time.
Yeah, I think that you just kind of summed up where I'm at with this, where I think that these are all really solid games. I think Thanos Rising is the hardest one, but I think they also fixed things with the other implementations.
Right. Some of the things people complain about, they kind of address.
Right. So, while, being a Marvel nerd, I like that theme. That one is a lot harder, than this. But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I mean, or that doesn't necessarily make it better or worse.
Sure.
I guess. And I think that these games are all solid enough that you could just find the one you like. I like Harry Potter. That's the one I want. Hey, great.
Yep.
We reviewed that one and we all enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yep.
I think if you're a big Avatar fan, I think you're going to find a lot you like here because this is a really solid game that clearly breathes within that universe.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, to me, it made sense. Like everything made sense. But to hear you guys talking about the characters and how it works, it's like, well, awesome. They nailed the theme.
Right.
And also, though, I feel like that with each one, it's not a pasted on theme. They've actually adjusted the game to make it work.
Right. Fit the theme better.
So you can't just go like, oh, well, I just want to use my Marvel characters in this game, right?
Sure.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
You really have to, the theme actually matters. They tweak and adjust the game to make it so that the theme works, but it also doesn't feel shoehorned in or it feels very natural. If this was the only Rising game that you played, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a really solid Avatar game. You know what I mean? And so I think for all of those things, I feel like there's a really good game in this box. And if you're an Avatar fan, then this is probably a really good idea for you.
Yeah, and even if you might not be, but if you know somebody who is, this could be a great gift idea because it's so accessible and easier to learn.
That's
that
true.
You could get it for somebody who's not an avid gamer, and you guys could still have a good time playing.
Right. Yeah. And again, right, sometimes co-op games can be great gateway games too.
Yeah.
Right,
Because everybody's working together.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then you build in, now you've got a game where you're using dice and stuff, and now you're going to play another game that's got a similar mechanic.
Right. Rolling and assigning dice.
That's maybe not cooperative, but now you're building off of that knowledge.
Yep.
And you have just kind of elbowed that door open a little bit because.
Say, oh, look, games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, it's possible you could have that whole alpha gamer thing, one person trying to take control. But, just say, no, it's my turn. Let me do what I want.
Right. It's one thing to point out the options they have, but then you should let them make their decisions.
Right.
Yep.
In any co-op game, you are going to run the risk of an alpha gamer.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to happen.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know about you, Spencer, but I could, when Mallory saw me, my now 11-year-old daughter saw me opening this up, and she's like, oh, I want to play. Oh, he does this. And she's watched a bunch of the show. And so she already knew some stuff. And so, I haven't played it with her yet, but we will play this together because she's going to want to see it.
Yeah.
And play it. And it's fun because this is going to be a next level game for her, on that.
Yep.
you know, like that next level.
Yep.
Start building up, you know, and she's now going to learn a new, you know, way to play games, you know, and
New concepts, new
yeah, new
mechanics.
concepts and everything. So
And one more thing with the track, that's the what they call the darkest day, I believe what it's called. That's the event that happens towards the end when the Fire Nation becomes super powerful.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you're watching it coming, and it's exactly what's happening in the show. You're like, oh, it's coming. How are we going to stop it? So it's it gets the feel.
it
I
feels
really
like
liked
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's, I mean, again, it's so easy for companies to slap an IP on a game, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
no.
like,
They
oh,
did a
Just
good
kind of
job
leave it.
here.
Yeah.
yeah, this is that game.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it though?
here's your Avatar game. And it's like, well, yeah, it is an Avatar game, but it could also be a blah, blah, blah game, you know. And this actually, like I said earlier, I feel like that they tweak and adjust where they make these IPs match this rule set and this system. And then they also build on it. And I feel like it improve in a little ways here and there, you know, to make it more interesting, right? Because they make your abilities, even with our abilities being easier to use than, like, say, Thanos Rising, this game was still hard as heck.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
It still kicked our butts.
It did.
And but
We didn't realize the focus we need to be putting on the balance track so much. We did that a lot earlier. If we
And-
realized how
and
bad
taking
that was
out-
going to go for us.
And taking out May would be like
that was huge
useful.
too.
Yeah.
Like one turn, I took like 3 damage. I was like, this
oh
is
my goodness. But you know, again though, right? Like multiple plays, you try different strategies, different
Yep,
things.
yep.
And Dan's not on this episode, but Dan and I love difficult co-ops.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah, I think he'd like this.
I think, you know, yeah, I think he would, because I think he probably is familiar with the show. I'm gonna guess, but I just, yeah, I love difficult co-ops too. So this is nice for that as
Right.
well. All right, guys, let's give it our final rating.
Okay.
Or you got anything else?
Nope, I was going to yawn, but it went away.
No, okay. Cool. All right, let's go into final rating. Bobby,
Yeah.
how do we calculate our final tally?
So here at the Board Game Rundown, when we rate games, we're going to rate it individually on a score of 1 to 10, and we still use 0.5s to kind of give it some variation. But then we're going to take all of our scores, we're going to average them together, and that'll be the score that you see on like BGG and things like that, so you know what the Board Game Rundown gave it as opposed to us individually.
Right, Spencer. What's your number?
Well, as a fan of the show, I am going to give this one a 9.
Nice.
I really liked it.
Very, very good. I'm glad. I like it when we play games we like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, what do you think?
So like I said, I don't think it's my favorite implementation of this, and I do own the other two already, so I don't feel the need to rush out and get it. However, I do know an Avatar fan, and I'm probably going to get them this game for like Christmas or something like that, so
Right.
I still have access to play it if I wanted to play it. I'm going to give it a 7.5 because it's not overwhelming mechanics in the game and whatnot, but it is still a fun game, and I do recommend it.
Yeah, this is an 8 for me. This is a very solid, like very good, strong, like I can recommend this game to a lot of people. I think being a fan of the IP, like, would increase the,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Good
like I
icing.
think if you love this IP, like Spencer does, I feel like that this game is going to land there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
So if you take all of our scores and we average them together, 8.2.
8.2.
Very good.
That's
solid.
really good.
Yeah.
Really good. I mean, I am, so full disclosure, the op sent us, we don't get paid for this, but I did ask the op when this was coming out. I'm like, hey, I'd be interested in checking that out. So they did send us this copy. But, you know, we review them honestly, no matter what, because we have not reviewed everything of theirs glowingly.
Correct.
But yeah, so I mean, we had a good time with it. We point out our nitpicks, things that they could do better. But I mean, overall, man, I'm really glad that the op likes sending us stuff because I like reviewing their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
I like most of it.
a lot of their stuff seems like it's nice entry level gateway types of games. Like, I haven't played anything I think from them that is super like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they're enjoyable.
all
And
solid.
if you don't play, they're solid and they're enjoyable.
And if you want something heavier from them, you could get like the Thing, Infection Outpost 31.
oh
'cause
sure,
they
yeah,
got
that is
now.
theirs. Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's a real difficult.
That's a difficult
That's
one.
a real difficult co-op. But all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for the Fire Nation Rising. But for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
That was Bob.
Now, Spencer.
We'll see you next time.